All right, hey folks, we're going to continue working on the martial power system. We're building pre-generated, we're creating pre-generated characters for the playtest campaign that we're going to be running here probably at the end of February through July, I think. So let me check my signaling here real quick, make sure we're up and running, and then I'm going to post notification that I'm up and running, and we'll get to work here for an hour or so. We'll see how long it takes for us to build a barbarian today. So, mic check, 1, 2, 3. For us to build a barbarian today. So, all right, sounds like you're coming through okay. How's my volume balance over here? Yeah, we're sitting good. All right, I'm gonna press some buttons here to make things happen. If you've, if you're here catching us in the future, then you probably know the score already. You're welcome to skip ahead, like maybe like a minute to get into me going on about whatever it is that we're going to go on about today. But for folks that are new to the channel, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, I publish them online. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for a number of years now, since the release of Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, actually, like in, what was that, 2018? That sounds about right. So there's a slew of work that I've created already that are linked down below in the description. Now you can check out stuff that I've created previously. It all has free previews, so you can thumb through a large amount of the content that I've created for you to see if it's something that you think is cool or not. If you do, making a purchase is the best way to tell me to make more books, because I want to make a lot more books like these, and that's on the horizon. So let's see, what are we doing here? We are specifically right now, we are focusing here. Let me get this stuff out of the way and rearrange my channel here to get started. There we go. Okay, great. So if you check in the description down below, we're kind of focusing our attention on the color mana spell point variant rules today. You can like, subscribe, and we picked up more subscribers since this morning. Thanks a lot, guys, for being interested in the stuff that we do. Hopefully you find this stuff interesting too. If you check in the description down below here, we can go to the Martial Powers playtest content. That is on my Patreon. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to be a paying member of Patreon to access this stuff. But if you click on this YouTube stream, it'll take us right here, right now. Hey guys. Otherwise, click on this Martial Powers link. It'll take you to a read-only document, Google document, that you can read along with. This is a rough draft. It's not the final version. Folks that are playtesting with me in the Ravnica Rubble Belt Hexcrawl campaign are welcome to utilize this to build out 20-level characters. Anyone else that's interested, just reach out to me. Let me know what you're interested in doing. We can make things work with you too. So you can access that information. That's what we see here now. This is our... Where are we at in this process? We're on episode episode 117. Holy Hannah. Okay, so we've been doing this for the past year, and we've been building out all the mechanics for how the martial power is an alternate spellcasting system for martial characters, not spellcasters, to be able to sling mana around, spell points around the same way that casting characters can, using the color mana spell point variant rules that we have. You can click that link here. That'll take you here. This is a deep dive into using the 5 color magic spell point variant rules, the 5 color magic paradigm for Magic the Gathering, using it with Magic the Gathering settings like Ravnica, Strixhaven, Theros. I use it in my Eberron campaign because color magic is far more visually descriptive than the 8 schools of magic. So from a narrator's point of view, when a DM wants to provide information that your team just will reflexively understand once they get into the color mana system, or the magic paradigm, color magic paradigm of the 5 colors working together to express different types of magic, super intuitive, way better than the 8 schools. So you can see here that we have the 5 schools magic paradigm of white, blue, black, red, green. Each of these aspects of magic have a different sort of like a portfolio of ideas, philosophies, and mechanical expressions inside of the 5e game chassis to explain what each color is. White, for instance, is, well, we're going to be focusing on Rakdos, which is black and red. So black is control, entropy, fear, soul, and darkness, while red is aggression, earth, emotion, energy, impulse. These are combined together. You have a very emotionally outburst, selfish sort of person that's interested in their own interest in avoiding avoiding darkness and pain unto themselves by delivering it to other people, being aggressive about defending themselves, having emotional purity, lots of energy, and acting impulsively. So demons, basically, that's kind of what we're looking at here. So we're going to build a today we're going to build a demonic Rakdos Frenzied Barbarian using the variant rules that we created for the guilds as well as for the Barbarian itself. So we're going to go up here to the front end of Barbarian so you can see the mechanics that are going on involving Barbarian. Here's our list of powers that we have access to that we'll be thumbing through to build a unique power loop for this character. And here is the front end where we're looking at base stats. We use half casting progression, starting at first level, second at 5th, third at 9th, 4th at 13, 5th at 17. We have a growing power die, which is a number of powers that we can channel. You spend a point of mana, and you get to add a die roll, like, say, to an ability check, or an attack roll, or a saving throw. And your power die increases in size as you gain levels, much like a Battlemaster superiority die or a Bard's inspiration die grows over time. So does your power die. Power die also works kind of like a damage die for when you're dealing additional damage with strikes and different effects. You prep powers, and we're building a 3rd level character. So you have 4 powers that you can prepare, and that caps out at 16 at 20th. These are daily prep powers. And the Barbarian and a couple other classes in particular, whenever they take a short rest, they can swap one power that they had prepared for the day for another power. We also regain all of our mana as martial points, which is expressed as mana regained on a short rest, similar to discipline points for a monk, which goes up to 20 points at 20th level. And there are various things that we can do to cheat more mana into the character's action loop, even though this is restored at a short and long rest. Keeping in mind that if you're using a color magic or an elemental magic paradigm, whenever you finish a short or long rest, you can completely change how much mana is devoted to each color or element that you're using. We're, again, focusing on color mana today with Rakdos, black, red. So, 3rd level Barbarian has 1st rank powers, rolls a d6 power die, has 4 additional prepared powers, has 3 mana that's regained on a short rest. In addition to the base statistics, we have as written, Rakdos gains a slew of spells that you can cast. Just basically bonus spells, like a spellcaster would get bonus spells. So too do we get bonus spells, but the power system doesn't cast spells; it's channeling powers. So we have an array of. Here is our list of 209 different powers that we have developed here in the system. And you get a number of bonus powers for free. You always get cantrips, because cantrips aren't really spellcasting. But a 1st level Barbarian would gain 2 powers, which would be Flaming Strike and Punish. And in addition to that, the Barbarian subclasses, since you are channeling power, each subclass, every martial subclass in this book, which is every martial class in the game, including half-casters, gain a stack of powers that they earn whenever they gain a new rank of power. Path of Barbarian, for example, when you take this path at 3rd level, you gain the Dire Impact and the Charge powers, which we'll look at more closely. And then we also get our features, of course. And then after we grab up all the free stuff that we get, we would then opt for we get 4 prepared powers that we can change every day. We'll grab 4 powers that we think are more like best iconic for the Frenzied Barbarian at 3rd level, and what kind of cool action loops can we create at 3rd level for a Frenzied Berzerker Barbarian. So there are some really cool things that we can do, and we're going to explore those ideas with us now. So if you're still with me, God bless. Thanks a lot. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. On Tuesday, we'll build out a Selesnya Ranger Beastmaster. And on Friday, we'll complete the set of Ravnica guilds by making a Simic Monk of some sort. I'm not sure exactly what. Maybe I'll put up a poll for people to vote on, and we'll just go with what the people want to do. Hey, Ked. It's good to see you, my guy. Well, cool. I'm glad you think this shit's cool, man. I sure do. So this is all leaning on the color mana spell point system that we've had on the DMsGuild for a number of years. Not to drag it out too much further, but as it stands here, if we go to the color mana system here and we look at the full preview, you can pull open the 75-page document. Bam. There you go. And if we look at how mana stacks up, just going to the end of it, you can see that a 20th level, like a full caster, would have 80 mana. It's 1 point per spell level. So a first level spell costs 1 mana. 5th level spell costs 5 mana. 7th level spell 7. You could go up to a 10th level. You can spend up to 10 mana, even though spells only go to 9th level. We make one change, and that is to make Wish the only 10th level spell that actually exists. It's a Wish spell, and it allows you to duplicate any other lower spell effect in the game. So you'll have full access to all. Basically, if you can cast it as an action, 9th level or lower, a Wish will allow you to do it. But then at 20th level is the Epic Wish, which is you can go off the reservation, as it were, and create any effect that you want that your DM is willing to approve. But you have to permanently sacrifice your mana to make your wish come true. So it's a 20th level power. That's when full casters get access to it. If they've gained 20 levels in a single spellcasting class, they're going to get access to an Epic Wish. They can decide to cash out. If it's so important to you to get your baby brother back from the abyss, you could give up all 80 mana, cut yourself off from being able to use mana altogether. But if the DM agrees, you'd be able to get your baby brother back. For instance, like, how much is your brother worth to you? That's a great question. For Elric, for those that haven't seen Brotherhood, spoiler alert, but for him, the answer is everything. And I love that about the show. That inspired this Epic Wish idea. But this is using, so what we're doing here is we have all this language about spellcasters being able to use a mana system where you use a different colored mana to cast different types of spells. A red spell, like Fireball's a red spell, so you'd have to spend a point of red mana plus 2 other mana of any color you want. As long as you have red in there somewhere, you're good to go. This martial power system is similar. We're going to start off first not having any color identity. The default is generic universal mana, kind of like just generic discipline points. If it's something you can spend points on, you can spend it. We add on the color magic paradigm. It's a massive nerf to full casters, to be honest. Because, like, if you want to be an evocation type wizard and throwing a lot of flash bane stuff, you're probably going to be sticking around inside of like red, white, and black magic. Which means that if a spell is only blue and you're only going with white, black, and red magic, you're not going to be able to have access to that blue spell unless you learn it twice. You could take just to complete the tangent here real quick for you guys. Going back here to, we're going to be updating all of these books once the player's handbook comes out to be current with the current tech. But here's an example. Like if I only have a white, black, red character, white, black, and red mana, but I wanted to say have, I don't know, what's a good one that wizards like to have. Let's go with Clairvoyance is decent, right? Clairvoyance is blue only. So if I were playing a white, black, red wizard and I wanted Clairvoyance, I would either, I could play a campaign where I allow myself access to all 5 colors, but now I have to devote my mana to all 5 different colors, and that stretches my mana pool very, very thin. Alternatively, I could choose to learn Clairvoyance as a blue spell and then learn it again in a different color. So I could learn Clairvoyance as a white spell. I'd learn it as blue, and then I'd learn it again. A wizard gets like 24 spells that they can memorize. Most of the time, you're only going to need 12 of them, so you can afford to fuck around with your mana pool this way. The other way you can do it is by taking downtime activities, spending gold to research a spell to be a specific color. I could use downtime to research Clairvoyance to be a white spell when I cast it. Not anyone else, but when I cast it, I've learned how to use white mana. So in time, I can either learn less spells, so I have a unique spells, a customized color list, so I have less colors to mess with, or I can spend time over the course of a campaign to learn and gain access to spells out of the color I want them by default, so I only have to learn it once, but I'm learning the modified spell. So, pardon me, my nose itches. There we go. All right, so I think that's all I really need to say about color mana for now. So let's get into the Barbarian. Finally, at last. We have our standard array, the way that I, as a DM, run I run campaigns from level 1 to 20 in about 200 some odd hours. Just finished my 3rd campaign with my home table. We're starting up a Spelljammer campaign next. I'll be streaming development of that campaign, by the way, for anyone that's interested, like and subscribe. But my standard array for character stats is 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6 before modifiers. That gives you a +3, +2, +1, 0, -1, -2. You're guaranteed to have some good stats. You're guaranteed to have some shitty stats. That's what I like to call a balanced character, where you have obvious weaknesses and your endeavor is going to either be to shore up those weaknesses by gaining feats or leaning into different features, skills, or spell and power options that help overcome that weakness, or you're going to let that weakness just be there and lean into your strength to become very strong in the categories that you choose to specialize in through spells, feats, features, and powers. So, but a barbarian, we're going strength, con, dex, wisdom, intelligence, charisma. That's the stack that we're going with. We're going to go with a Cult of Rakdos background. Cult of Rakdos, Rakdos being a demon. We're going to go with Tiefling as the race, Child of Rakdos, why not? Barbarian, we're going to go with a Frenzied Berzerker. That seems to make the most sense about what feels like black-red energy is just raging, crazy cyclone of doom. I like that. So that's going to be our base chassis that we're going to start with. So let's start fleshing this thing out. Let's see, we've got our subclass, and so subclass, Frenzied Berzerker, Barbarian, background for Cult of Rakdos, feature equals, let's go first into Cult of Rakdos, Rakdos as written, Rakdos background, skill proficiencies equal acrobatics and performance. So we'll pick up the proficiencies, skills, acrobatics, performance, plus everything else that we get. Either abyssal or giant. Let's go with common, abyssal. Tools, one type of musical instrument. Let's go with drum. Equipment, you get stuff, whatever. A flair for the dramatic. You have a performance option. I don't know, let's roll a d8 and see what our performance specialization is. Why not? I rolled a 2. Lampooning satirist. Sure, why not? So scathing sarcasm is my weapon of choice. Feature, fearsome reputation. Equals, people recognize you as a member of the Cult of Rakdos, and they're careful not to draw your anger or ridicule. You can get away with minor criminal offenses, such as refusing to pay for food at a restaurant or breaking down a door at a local shop. If no legal authorities witness the crime, most people are too daunted by you to report your wrongdoings to the Azorius. Cool. So that's the pirate background for those that don't know. Rakdos spells. So cantrips are anybody, which is going to be Firebolt and Vicious Mockery. That Vicious Mockery, by the way, really keys into the Satirist that we took. I like that. So let's go with Firebolt. We'll go with Firebolt, cantrip, and Vicious Mockery. Now, we're not a spellcaster, especially not a barbarian, so we don't get the Crown of Madness, Enthrall, or Flaming Sphere. Instead, Rakdos is going to get the Flaming Strike and Punish powers. So let's go with Flaming Strike, and we'll go look at these real quick. Strike 1, and that is going to be available. We'll have to pick a color for that. And Punish. The first rank reaction, and we'll have to decide what color we want. So we have 2 colors, black and red. There's 5 disciplines. There's exploits, there's maneuvers, reactions, strikes, and sustained effects. So when we have a 2-color character like a Rakdos, which is blue and red, sustained is both colors, and that means that there's 4 disciplines left to choose from. 2 of them can be black, 2 of them can be red. At low levels, we don't have a lot of mana, so being picky about what powers you choose how is going to be important, but keeping in mind, you can swap one power that you prepared when you take a short rest, and you can change what color all of your mana is devoted to when you finish your short rest. Barbarians get all of their mana back on a short rest, as opposed to like a paladin, ranger, or artificer, and a lot of other characters only get mana back on a long rest. But again, whenever you take a short rest, however much mana it is that you have at the end of your short rest, you can then decide to devote however much mana you want to each color. And with the martial power system, we keep it simple that you only have at most 2 colors, while a wizard or a cleric or a druid using the color mana spell point variant rules might be operating in all 5 colors. So already we have a much more focused intent on how we're using the mana that's in our pool. Other characters, again, we just talked about before, if you want to play a true Rakdos Warlock, then you're only going to have black and red mana, and you're only going to choose spells that have black and red mana as their casting costs. And if you want something that doesn't, then you're going to find a way to lie, cheat, or steal it into the color scheme that you want. So that's a fun narrative that kind of ties the mechanics of spellcasting and the mana pool into the identity of your characters, which is a very, very large theme of how Magic the Gathering works in general. The deck that you build has a color identity, and the cards that you put into that deck kind of tells a story about what kind of a player you are, what the theme of your deck is, how you're making things work together to defeat your opponents and win. Fun stuff. Very, very fun stuff. So let's pick up some class features and keep moving forward. Cult of Rakdos is resolved, so we can push that. I'm just going to leave it where it's at. Let's do that. We can go into the Barbarian. First thing we're going to do before we can skip past this, let's go to the Barbarian. Let's see what the Barbarian gives us naturally, and then we're going to add on to the modifications made by the martial power system. Let's see. So a third level, you're going to have Rage, Unarmored Defense, Reckless Attack, Danger Sense, and your Primal Path. So, Rage. Unarmored Defense. Reckless Attack. Danger Sense. And then Primal Path, Frenzied Berzerker. All right, so hit dice, D12. Let's see, let's flesh out the rest of these bits. Class, subclass, proficiencies, that's what we want to be at. Light, medium, shield. What, simple and martial weapons, I think? Saves are strength and con. Choose 2. Animal handling, athletics, intimidate, nature, perception, survival. Berserker. Let's go athletics and intimidation. That just feels barbarian-ish to me. Equipment, who cares? Weapon, blah. Rage. Okay, so rage. We have a rage bonus, right? Oh yeah, rages 2 per day. +2. Let's see. So when you're raging, you have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. When you make a melee weapon attack using strength, you gain the bonus to the damage roll equal to the rage bonus of +2. When you make a melee attack, +2 damage. Nice. You have resistance on bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Very nice. If you're able to cast spells, you can't cast them or concentrate on them while raging. Rage lasts for a minute. If you're unconscious, you lose it. If you don't attack something, you lose it. If you don't take damage, you lose it. So you can keep it a number of ways. You can also end your rage on your turn as a bonus action. Once you have raged the number of times shown on the barbarian level of the rage column, you must finish a long rest before you can get more rages. Okay, so rage, pretty basic. Reckless attack, starting at 2nd level. You can throw aside your concern for defense and attack with fierce desperation. Unarmored attack. When not wearing any armor, AC is 10 plus dex plus con, which would be a dexterity of 13. So we would probably like take chainmail or something like that, just to at least give us like a 17. Plus our shield could take us to a 19 if we didn't want to have a two-handed weapon. That's pretty cool. Reckless attack. Starting at 2nd level, you can throw aside all concern for defense to attack with fierce desperation. When you make your first attack on your turn, you can decide to attack recklessly. Doing so gives you advantage on melee weapon attack rolls using strength during this turn, but attack rolls against you have advantage until your next turn. And then danger sense is you gain an uncanny sense of when things nearby aren't as they should be. Let's go to actually. One second. Unarmored defense. 10 plus dex plus con equals 13. Meh. Equals use medium plus shield. Danger sense. Second level, you have an uncanny sense of when things nearby aren't as they should be, giving you an edge when you dodge away from danger. You have advantage on dexterity saving throws against effects that you can see, such as traps and spells. To gain this benefit, you can't be blinded, deafened, or incapacitated. Resist, bludgeoning, piercing, slashing damage. And then I'm in the wrong category. God damn it. Primal Path equals actually supposed to be up here. Cool. All right. Let's stay away from Selesnya, shall we? Rakdos. Frenzied. Okay, so we picked up Barbarian. There are channeled class features that the Barbarian gets that are above and beyond. Let's take a look at what those are. So we're pretty much done with Barbarian except for the Primal Kit, so we can skip past that. We're now into spells. Let's go to here. Let's look at the modifications that we make using the power system to the Barbarian. Yay. So, optional class features is channeling. So, starting at 1st level, you gain the channeling class features. Strength, Dex, or Charisma. I'm sorry, that should be Strength, Constitution. Or Charisma is your channeling ability score, your choice. Your channeling DC is 8 plus Prof plus ability modifier. You'll also gain pool of martial points called mana that you can learn martial powers. So, we'll have Strength as our top stat. So we will channel powers. If we're making a channeling attack roll, then we roll the +3 plus a proficiency bonus for total +5. Power die. Channel attack roll equals +5. Channeling DC equals equals 13. Let's see. Beginning at first level, you learn 2 first rank powers. Martial powers, section 3 down below. You gain additional powers as we gain levels, as according to the table that we learned. Here we go. So we're a 3rd level barbarian. We have first rank powers. We're going to roll a d6 on our power die. We have 4 additional powers that we can prepare as a long rest, swapping one out in a short rest. Well, hey again, 809. It's good to see you, my guy. And then we have 3 mana that's going to be split between black and red because we're going with Rakdos. So that's starting us off. And then what else happens here? Martial powers. So beginning at first level, you learn 2 first rank powers. You gain more as you gain levels. That's on a progression table. Let's see. Mana. First level, you gain 1 point of mana. You gain 1 additional mana every level with a maximum of 20 mana at 20th level, which you regain when you finish a short or long rest. Let's see. You gain additional powers. Channeling subclass, blah. Channeling rage. Okay, so here's where it gets interesting. So when you're using martial powers, rage gains additional benefits. While raging, we already know you cannot maintain concentration while you're raging. So if you channel a sustained power while raging, and keeping in mind, there's 5 disciplines of power. So there's exploits, which modify die rolls and different action economy. Like, you can spin an exploit while moving. You can spin an exploit while attacking. You can spin an exploit while making a bonus action. You can use an exploit while rolling a 20-sided die, like to make a saving throw, to make an attack roll, or to make an ability check. So exploits don't typically use their own actions. They kick actions that you're already taking. And then there's maneuvers, which are probably the closest thing to spell-like abilities that we have in here, which is you basically point and click, and then something happens to whatever it is that you're pointing at. You can channel maneuvers as both actions and as bonus actions. You could trigger both, like for example, if you wanted to, you could trigger coordinated attack. For example, as a first rank maneuver, you can empower a target ally that can see or hear you to use their reaction to make an opportunity attack, rolling 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest result to the ally's attack against a target you and your ally can both see. So what is this doing? So we can channel a coordinated attack power as an action and as a bonus action. We can do it twice in the same round. So there are ways for characters to have multiple opportunity attacks. So if the target if the ally that we're pointing at, I point at you, Ked, and let's say 809, you were the enemy. I could use either an action or a bonus action, spend a point of mana, say, Ked, go ahead and hit 809. You would then be able to use your opportunity attack, which is a type of reaction, to make that attack roll. When you do, I'm going to roll a power die and add it to your attack roll to see if you hit. At this level, it's a d6. So I spend a point of mana, I roll a d6, you gain that d6 as a bonus to hit the target that both you and I can hit that's within reach of your attack. I can do that as an action and as a bonus action. If you had one of the features or abilities that allow you to make multiple opportunity attacks, I could target you twice with the same coordinated attack. So you could use 2 opportunity attacks, one off of my action and one off of my bonus action. I spent 2 mana, you got 2 free attacks, and well, not free attacks. You got 2 opportunity attacks, and you got a d6 to bonus to hit for both of them. So that's like a very battle master sort of thing to do, because shock coordinated attack is a battle master maneuver. I took basically all the features and subclass options and array of stuff that marshals could do in the entirety of 5e and boiled them down to mana point cost, non-spell like powers. That's where almost all of this is coming from. So most of the playtesting was already done 10 years ago by everyone that was involved in XD&D for like very simple stuff like Brand of Axiom. You'll recognize that from the Blood Hunter. We took the Blood Hunter, we got rid of all the emo, cut yourself, stupid blood vibe that is part of that whole design team, and instead made it a mana thing. So instead of cutting yourself and perpetuating bad vibes at your table, you can instead just use your mana pool to trigger the Brand of Axiom, or Curse of the Eyeless, or Curse of the Muddled Mind. There's also, what else do we have? Cursed Brand, and Theurgy came off of the Blood Hunter. Curse of Enfeeblement. Hit my tap there. There's a lot of Curse of Exposure. Almost all these curse effects and some other things like what is it? Curse of the Fallen Puppet. That's pretty famous from the Blood Hunter. You could rebuild any Blood Hunter, Blood Right, I think it is, or whatever it is, what school or whatever it is, path that Blood Hunters have their subclasses. You can duplicate any subclass from any Blood Hunter into this game as a Barbarian, as a Ranger, as a Paladin. There's so much. The subclasses for the Blood Ranger is so much wider than what its class is. It's just, I think those subclasses fit really nicely into an array of different martial classes. So it was really fun to convert them all into this mana resource. So anybody could be a Blood Hunter. Just choose Blood Hunter shit, and we'll have an appendix down. We'll have like a little tilde or something that marks these are all Blood Hunter things, so you can spec into being a Blood Hunter if you want to use the mana system instead of blood. Let's see. Oh yeah, we were talking about rage. So okay, so the point of this was, okay, so that was a maneuver, and then there's reactions, which are either just normal reactions, like I'm going to re-roll my saving throw, or an opportunity attack, which is a combat-focused reaction, which some characters can have multiple opportunity attacks. The maneuvers, like we said, are the closest thing to point-and-click things. Strikes are like smite abilities, like smite spells, but it's converted so that any martial can use them. Don't worry, the Paladin still has plenty of unique options that keep the Paladin identity separate from other classes, even though there's a lot of line blurring going on. And then Sustain, this is the point of interest that we're at right now. Sustain powers are like concentration spells. They're self-only. They're self-buffs, kind of like or enchantments from Magic the Gathering. You trigger this thing on the creature. That creature is affected by this thing. The creature remains affected by this thing while it has no duration. So it stays active for however long you can sustain it. Default, it's a concentration effect. And the concentration DC is going to be 10 plus the amount of mana it took for you to activate it. So if you want to have Blind Sense, you can tap 1 mana. You'll now have a concentration DC of 11. And you'll have Blind Sense, which is you're aware of the location of any creatures or objects on the same plane of existence as you within 10 feet of your max rank of power. So at first rank, 10 feet. At 5th rank, 50 feet. So there you go. Instead of maintaining concentration, so keep in mind, Barbarians, they can't concentrate. That's a big shortfall for a Barbarian. They can't cast spells. That's okay, because channeling power is not spellcasting. It's channeling power. Nice loophole there. But the concentration effect is a hard effect. So one of the neat things about the sustained powers is if you don't want to maintain concentration on something, you can lock the power. So that if you have, like at first rank, at first level you only have 1 rank of power. Which means you can only channel 1 mana at a time. If you choose to channel a concentration effect like a sustained power, you could maintain concentration with a DC 11, or if you decide that you don't want to, if you want the effect but don't want to concentrate, you can lock that point of mana. You can lock that channel so that you no longer have access to that many ranks. At first level with 1 rank of power, if you lock a first rank power, then you have cut yourself off from mana altogether. While you can sustain that power now without maintaining concentration with it, you also can't spend mana on anything else. At 5th level, when you gain access to 2nd rank powers, and you can channel 2 mana at a time, you could choose to channel a first rank power, lock that 1 channel, and still leave 1 channel open for first rank powers for you to do. You could choose to lock a 2nd rank sustained power, and that would again lock you from all mana. You drop down to only cantrip 0 effects. Luckily, there's about 60 different cantrip type effects in the game that don't cost any mana to use, and each character has the ability to cheat their mana down so it doesn't cost any mana for them to channel a power by giving up action economy in the process of doing it. So even if you lock all your channels, you can still use a lot of your fun stuff, but you're going to have to give up actions to be able to get access to it, which we'll go into. But and you could also choose to channel 2 first rank powers. So like I could have Blind Sense and Dire Impact on it at the same time. Dire Impact is, while sustaining its power, weapon attacks are magic, and you can add 1 plus your max rank of power to your weapon damage rolls. So at first level, first rank, 1 plus 1, 2, I can add an additional 2 damage to my attack. Dire Impact plus rage bonus of plus 2, plus my strength of +3. That's a +7 to my die roll. That's a lot. That's really good. But I also cut my, if I have to maintain concentration, and if I screw up my DC 11, I'm going to lose it. Here's the kicker. Any saving throw I make can disrupt concentration, as well as taking damage. Normally, it's if you take damage, half of that damage is a Constitution saving throw DC. So if I take 15 points of damage, round up, it's going to be a DC of 8, or my DC minimum off my concentration effect, which is an 11. So 11 is the floor for a first rank power being maintained on. But like, say I take 40 points of damage, that's going to be a Constitution saving throw of 20. So if I can't roll a 20 on my Constitution saving throw, I lose my concentration. The effects get lost, and I dump my mana. I have to then rechannel to reactivate those mana abilities. But using this system, I can have as many powers active at the same time as I want. And if I do, it just keeps adding up the DC up to my max rank. So at 9th level, I can channel 3rd rank powers. I can channel up to 3 mana. I could lock up to 3 ranks worth of channeled features, such as Dire Impact, Cliff Runner, and Blind Sense. I could have all 3 of those effects on at the same time. That would give me a DC 13. If I get hit by a Feeble Mind spell, Wizard making me make an Intelligence saving throw DC 16, or I become feeble-minded. Well, that's great, but if I don't roll at least a 13, then I'm going to lose all my mana also on top of it. Let's say something really easy, like let's say a wolf is trying to trip me, and my Dexterity saving throw to prevent being tripped by a wolf is 11, but I'm maintaining 3 mana worth of effects when it happens. If I roll a 12 on my Dexterity saving throw, that's good enough not to get tripped, but it's less than the DC 13 I would need to maintain all of my tapped mana to maintain the 3 ranks worth of channeled features. I would lose all of them. I didn't get tripped, but I fucked up my saving throw. I didn't hit my concentration DC, so I lose all my mana. So, locking your mana becomes really useful, but it reduces the amount of power that you can channel at any given time. It's a risk-reward gain-loss thing. Here's what's cool about the Barbarian, though. While raging, you cannot maintain concentration. So if you channel a sustained power while raging, it automatically locks. And locked powers don't reduce your max channel limit while you're raging. So I could sustain and lock 3 ranks of power and still be able to use my mana up to 3rd rank. It's as though I'm not concentrating on anything at all, as though I don't have any effects triggered. But I have all of these, like I could permanize haste on myself and still be able to do everything else. I just now also have haste permanized because I locked haste on. I would, if I wanted to do something else, if I wanted to sustain another effect, I'd have to dismiss the haste effect, burning the 3 mana, and then pick something else up. But I automatically lock and ignore my channel limits when I'm raging. So big advantage is if my rage ends, the locks come up. So I wouldn't be able to use any mana if I have all my channels locked with sustained effects, and my rage suddenly ends. I'm either going to have to go without mana, or I'm going to have to ditch some of my sustained effects so I can free my channels up so I can start channeling mana again. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, I'll have to find a good editor to help me rewrite it so it does. That's why we hire editors, to make sure things make sense. So that's what the channeling rage feature does. So let's go ahead and add that down here. Channeling feature equals, what's it called? Is it empowered rage? Is that what we call it? Oh, channeling rage. There we go. Locked channels don't reduce max channel limit during rage. There. And the next thing we get, and at 14th level, when you choose, at 14th level, you can choose to channel a sustained power as part of the bonus action used to rage. Another fun fact: just like maneuvers, sustained powers can be channeled as actions and as bonus actions, and you can do twice in the same round. So I could trigger one effect with my bonus action, and I could trigger another sustained effect with my standard action, leaving only my movement and my reaction left over. At 14th level, when I use my bonus action to rage, I can automatically choose a sustained power I know to automatically lock on with the rage, which is great. So, and then we have our optional features. Here's how we start cheating mana into our mana pool. So beginning at first level during combat, when you take the attack action, you can forego any number of attacks to reduce the cost of channeling a maneuver as a bonus action by 1 mana for each attack sacrificed this way to a minimum of 0 cost. So at first level, I only have 1 attack during the attack action. But if I sacrifice that single attack, I gain a free point of mana, basically. Or I can reduce the cost of channeling a maneuver to 0. And so we were looking at a stack of maneuvers. Again, the coordinated strike maneuver, for example, which is what we just looked at. I give you a d6 to attack to attack something that we can both see, use a reaction to do it. If I give up my attack action, as a bonus action, I can let you do that, and it doesn't cost me any mana. I can do that literally every round of combat if I wanted to. If I wanted to. Sometimes that's useful. Sometimes not as much. But all these things, like bonus attack, might not seem obvious offhand, but a bonus attack is when you make an attack with a weapon you're holding, you can draw a weapon as part of the attack and make the attack with advantage. So we see this a lot in the rogue builds that we make. That if I give up my first level rogue, if you give up your attack action, then as a bonus attack, I can make an attack, and I have advantage, which means I can trigger sneak attack. So if I give up my attack action, I can use my bonus action to make a single sneak attack. That's super fucking useful for a rogue. And I can do that infinitely if I pick up bonus attack as my maneuver, and I'm always willing to sacrifice my attack action. What am I doing? I'm collapsing the amount of actions that I as a player have to process per round. What benefit do I get from it? More effect. I'm only going to do one thing this round, but it's going to fucking kill. That's what we want to do. I could make 3 attacks this round, or I could just make 1 single attack and banish you as a result of it, for example. I'm reducing my action economy to speed up combat at the table, and I'm rewarding your character in-game by giving them bonus shit they can do or giving them free maneuvers to use. So I really love that. I think that's a really fun way for you to be able. It effectively lets you go infinite. At 5th level, when you have 2 attacks, you can give up both of them, and you can channel a second rank maneuver at no cost. Or you can make an attack and then give up your second attack to get a free point of mana to then use your bonus action to trigger a free maneuver for one point of mana. So that's how that thing works. So I think we already have that on our sheet. Empowered maneuvers, 1 attack plus bonus action equals 1 free mana to channel a maneuver. Minimum of 0. What else do we get? Empowered Rage. Starting at 3rd level, you can spend 2 mana to regain 1 use of Rage. So keep in mind, at 3rd level, we only have 3 mana, and we get it back in a short rest. We only have 2 Rages per day. Rages are super useful. If I want to, I can spend 2 mana to get a use of Rage back. I now have basically as much Rage as I have mana divided by 2. Empowered Rage. Spend 2 mana. Gain 1 Rage. There you go. And that's all we get until 5th level. There's a lot more fun, cheaty shit we can get out of the Barbarian, but we're going to be play testing at 3rd level, 5th level, 7th level, 9th level for 4 weeks of pop. So like March, April, May, June, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th level. So once we get to March, April, once we're in April, we'll start looking at 5th level features, and we might start looking at multi-classing as well. So let's see. Okay, so that's all we needed for the channeling features for the Barbarian straight. Now let's look at our archetype features. Hopefully you guys think this is fun. Frenzied Berzerker, 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 Path of Berzerker, Berzerker. Let's go. Let's see, what do we get from Berzerker? Let's check out the core class. And let's see how we modify it. For Rakdos, I specifically went with the Frenzied Berzerker because of the Frenzy feature, because it's hectic and manic, and supercharged with energy. That's a very red effect. That's all. I could have gone with wild magic, but I think that'd be more Izzet. But Rakdos could totally do that, and it'd be a lot of fun if we did. Okay, so let's see. Frenzy. Starting when you choose this path at 3rd level, you can go into a frenzy when you rage. If you do so, for the duration of your rage, you can make a single melee weapon attack as a bonus action on each of your turns. After this one, when your rage ends, you suffer a level of exhaustion. Fuck you. Instead, let's see, we only get one feature at 3rd level, and that's going to be Frenzy. We modify it. Starting when you choose this path at 3rd level, you can go into a frenzy when you rage. For the duration of your rage, you can make a single melee weapon attack as a bonus action on each of your turns, including the turn you choose to rage. So, no need for exhaustion. That's stupid. So, we'll go with Frenzy equals while raging, can make an attack as a bonus action. Cool, pretty straightforward. Let's start picking powers. So Frenzy, what does Frenzy get? Path of Berzerker, we get Dire Impact and Charge. Cool. Dire Impact, which is Sustained 1, and Charge, which is Exploit 1. We're going to look at what each of these does in turn to help start building a narrative around what this character is, and then we're going to build out. We have 4 powers that we can prepare as a long rest and swap out as a short rest. So we're just going to go with some what feels like an iconic Frenzied Berzerker sort of feeling, and knowing that we can swap it out at any time to help our team do what it needs. This is just a theme that we're just going for a mood. We're going with mood. So let's first take a look at all the things that we can do already. Just these are permanently on our list. We always have these. Firebolt, Vicious Mockery, those are cantrips. Bobby Uncle. Charge. Let's look at Charge. Charge is a first rank exploit. Let's see what we can do with it. When you take the move action, you can channel this power to prevent from triggering opportunity attacks due to your movement. And the first attack you make during this movement can roll 1 power die per mana burned or channeled, adding the highest roll to the attack roll. So, as part of my movement, if I move and then I attack, I can add a power die to my attack roll, which is a d6. And while I'm moving, I don't trigger opportunity attacks. That's super useful. That's an exploit. That feels red-ish. So I'm going to pencil in for now exploits as red, just because the mood feels, just because Charge feels like a red thing to do. That's all. So we're just penciling this in. I can change, whenever you gain a level, you can change which disciplines you have devoted to each color. And the default is that both colors can be used to channel sustained effects. But if you wanted to make like strikes be both colors, then you could have strikes channel or like exploits. You could do that for black and red. And then, like, say, sustained or only with red or whatever. It's up to you. But the default assumes that you want to have both sustained powers as black and red, because sustained powers have the most impact on your character long-term during the course of the day, because you can sustain them until you take a long rest, assuming that they aren't disrupted. So, long-term gains, more variety. So we have the Charge feature, Dire Impact, and Reaction and Strike. Reaction, strike, sustain. Whoa, we got all sorts of stuff. So let's go down to the reaction. Reaction is punish. And again, reactions are reactions. Punish specifically is an opportunity attack. And again, we can make, if we have the ability, we can make multiple opportunity attacks per round. It's just a matter of if we have something that can kit us into it. If we can use punish multiple times. Punish always costs at least 1 mana. As a reaction to when an enemy you can see within range of your weapon attack misses an attack roll against you or an ally, you can make an opportunity attack, adding 1 power die to the attack roll. So again, I'd add plus d6 to the attack roll. So this is allowing me to make attacks on enemies that don't hit. That's feeling kind of black, honestly. So I'm going to pencil reactions in as black. How are we looking on time? 2:30, is that right? Yeah, we're doing great. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, that was the reaction. The reaction was punish. And then we have flaming strike. So let's go down to our strikes. Flaming strike. Your weapon can deal fire damage and add 1 point of power die per mana burned. The creature is caught on fire, taking fire damage equal to the result of the highest power die rolled each turn. The creature can attempt to end this effect at the end of each of its turns by succeeding a dexterity saving throw or spending an action to put out the fire. So, when we hit with Flaming Strike, we're going to deal our normal weapon damage, and we're going to add a d6 to the damage because of the first rank. We only have 1 mana that we can channel. Once we get up to 17th level, we could dump up to 5 mana into it, rolling d10s. That'd be 5 d10 extra damage. And then, each round, whoever got hit by the Flaming Strike is on fire. And so the 17th level character, you'd roll a d10 each turn, and that's how much damage they take for being on fire. At first level, it's only a d6. But still, it's ongoing fire damage until your enemy either makes a saving throw or puts out the fire with an action, eating up their ability to attack you. So, Flaming Strike's pretty useful for things that, you know, can be caught on fire. Flaming Strike sounds very red. Fire is red, so this was supposed to be an exploit. And that would default this to maneuvers. Do we want to have black as maneuvers? I don't know, maybe. Let's see what else. We don't have any maneuvers yet, do we? We don't have any maneuvers yet. We have exploit strikes and we have a reaction. Okay. And we have a sustained power. And the sustained power we have is Dire Impact, which we just looked at. Dire Impact. And again, you can read along in the book with me if you want to by going down here into the description, like, subscribe, bell icon on your way down to the Martial Powers playtest content. You do not need to be a paying member of my Patreon to access this, but it is a read-only document. Click on Martial Powers, and bam, look at that. You're looking at the same document as I am. So you can read along as you please. Beep, 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 beep. Dire Impact. Again, Dire Impact equals while sustaining this power, weapon attacks or magic, and you can add your +1. You can add your 1 plus max rank of power. Let's say attacks or magic, and you can add and you can add 1 plus your max rank of power to your weapon damage rolls. So Dire Impact. Yeah, black, red. Exploit is what, red? Reaction is black. Arguably, reaction could be red, but I think the punish reaction feels black, so we're just going to go with that. And then strike is also going to be red. Very good. All right, now we get to choose 4 powers. So keeping in mind, a barbarian doesn't block channels when they sustain an effect. Dire Impact with a +2 bonus on top of the rage bonus, on top of the strength bonus for a +7. Ooh. Okay, let's make this guy a 2-hander. Let's go take advantage of what we can do with this, and actually jump down here into the meta powers. Let's take a feat, and specifically, let's take Heavy Weapon Master. Great Weapon Master. There you go. And just to remind everyone what the Great Weapon Master feat does. Let's see. You've learned to put your weight and weapon in an advantage, letting momentum empower your strikes. You gain the following benefits. On your turn, When you score a crit with a melee weapon or reduce a creature to 0 hit points with one, you can make one melee attack as a bonus action. That's kind of redundant with Frenzy, but it's useful when you're not in the rage, so cheers. Before you make a melee attack with a heavy weapon that you are proficient with, you can choose to take a -5 penalty to the attack roll. If the attack hits, you add +10 to the damage roll. So with our strength being +3, our rage bonus +2, and dire impact +2, that's 7. With Great Weapon Master, we can be dealing a die roll +17 damage if we take a -5 to the attack roll. We're already going to be at disadvantage on our attack rolls. So that's a pretty fucking risky thing to do. But like if they get paralyzed or stunned or something, then it gets really easy. So it's worth having. I think Great Weapon Master is a great opening bid for this 3rd level character. So we're going to go with that. But I also want to look at our sustained powers. So let's go look at our sustained list. First rank only. Okay, first off, Rogue Stance. As a bonus action, you can dash, dodge, disengage as a bonus action. That's a sustained effect. So as long as I'm maintaining concentration, or in the Barbarian's case, I have it locked, I'll have basically Rogue cunning action. Not bad. Saving Grace. When you sustain this power, you have advantage on saving throws with one ability of your choice. You can channel this power more than once simultaneously, choosing a different ability score with each channeling. If I really wanted to, while I'm raging, I have advantage on my strength saving throws. I could take Saving Grace 5 times for the other 5 and have advantage on all my saving throws. That's useful, but that's a 17th level thing to do. I don't think Swift's Assessment really speaks to the vibe of a Frenzied Barbarian Berserker. Trap Springer doesn't feel like it specifically. Range Skirmisher is like for snipers and running gunners, which I don't think the Frenzied Barbarian is in particular. Omnilinguist, he's not really in a talking mood. Whew. Lycanthropy is nice, but I'm going to save that. Lycanthropy basically lets you take on a form of an animal. It's like it's the Blood Rager feature. Blood Warrior, Blood Knight, Blood. Is that what it's called? Blood Rager? Anyway, whatever. The Mercer Emo class. You have advantage on strength checks. You have unarmed attacks that deal a power die of damage plus strength or dex. And you have heightened senses, which is gained advantages in wisdom, perception, and investigation. Lycanthropy is neat, but it's not specifically Berserker, but it's a nice ability. Inspired skill. While sustaining this power, you gain proficiency in a skill or tool of your choice. You can channel this power more than once simultaneously, choosing a different skill or tool with each channeling. That's not something you're probably going to be doing while you rage. Fast. Max channel limit. Max channel rank multiplied by 10. Increase your speed. No, I don't think specifically. Crouching stance. Cliff runner. You know, I'm going to say the dire impact's enough. I think that's enough. So let's go down and look at our strikes and see if there's anything cool that we want to pick up here. For now, it'll cost us 1 mana to use a first rank strike. Eventually, it'll be free. But for now, it costs. Distracting Strike kind of goes with my taunting ideas. Your weapon deals extra damage equal to 1 power die per mana burned, and the next attack roll against the target by an attack other than you has advantage if the attack is made before the start of your next turn. But Goading Strike is your weapon damage increases by 1 power die per mana burned. The creature you strike has disadvantage on any attack made that doesn't target you. This effect ends if the target hits you. It can also attempt to end the effect early by succeeding in intelligence saving throw at the end of its turn. I don't know. Maybe maneuvers is where we want to be at. Oh, we could just go more feats. Let's keep it simple. Let's just buff out feats on this guy. He doesn't have to use a lot of mana. We'll save the mana for strikes. That makes sense. This is a combat mastery, which is similar to the weapon masteries, but you don't have to use a specific weapon for it. If you have like a heavy crossbow with the push power, then you would when anyone is wielding that heavy crossbow, you could push. But if you learn the combat mastery, you can push anyone with any weapon, including unarmed strikes, for instance. So push, target makes a strength save, or is pushed 5 feet, and our strength saving throw is a DC 13. I'm going to save grappling for our Simic monk build, because I think that's going to be super cool. Addled? What does that do? Con saver can't make opportunity attacks. Straggle, half speed, Vex, at disadvantage on their next attack roll. Int check or disadvantage. Vex isn't bad. Yeah, let's go with Vex. Vex. Combat mastery. That'll help nullify the advantage that a target gets against you while you are using reckless attack. You could use your reckless attack to hit somebody with Vex, and that'll nullify the advantage that they have against you. So that's useful. What other feat might we want? Let's see. What kind of weapon do we want to use? Do we want to use a maul or a two-handed sword? We could go with... let's check out what... Crusher. Let's remind ourselves what the Crusher feat does. You're practicing the art of crushing things. As a power, you don't gain the stat increase. Sorry, but you do get once per turn when you hit a creature with an attack that deals bludgeoning damage. You can move it 5 feet to an unoccupied square, provided the target is no more than one size larger than you. Vex doesn't. Oh, that's right. We didn't take push. We took Vex. This is useful. When you score a critical hit that deals bludgeoning damage to a creature, attack roll against that creature are made with advantage until the start of your next turn. Ooh. Crusher's super good because that nullifies a lot of the disadvantages that we would get as a barbarian. That's super fucking sweet. Is there anything else that there's got to be a power that we could pick up in here someplace? Something neat. Let's pick up another maneuver. Let's pick up a maneuver because we can get those for free right now. So let's see if there's a cool maneuver that we like. And again, we can swap all these out on a long rest. So this is just in the moment what seems cool. Oh, goat. Target creature that you can see and that can see or hear you makes attacks against other creatures other than you with disadvantage until it successfully hits you or succeeds a wisdom saving throw at the end of each of its turns. Is that what goading is? Goading strike wisdom or is it intelligence? I think it's intelligence. Let's fix that if it is. Yeah, intelligence. So let's go to goad. Let's take goad. It's a taunt. It fits in with our satire. There. And dumb ogres aren't likely to succeed at their intelligence saving throw. So goad is fucking perfect. Goad. Maneuver 1. What? Is it red? Is that what it is? Is maneuvers red? Oh, they're black. Yeah, maneuvers are black. But if we spend our attack action, it's free. So there you go. That's our build. Super simple. We do a shitload of damage between the Rage, the Dire Impact, and the Great Weapon Master. We've completely covered the penalties to raging with Crusher Feat and Vex Combat Mastery. We're dealing extra damage, and that damage is going to deal damage every round until they make a dexterity saving throw or waste their action putting out the fire with Flaming Strike. We have Vicious Mockery for the memes. We have Firebolts for the flavor of being Rakdos. Punish anytime someone fails an attack that's within reach of us. We can go ahead and hit them as a bonus attack, as a reaction. We can hit them. It'll cost a point of mana to do it, but we can do it. Charge allows us to avoid opportunity attacks while moving through the battlefield. And at the end of our movement, if we hit something, we get a bonus to our attack roll. There you go. Not, we could have chosen anything. These were the things that made sense just to look at what's a Rakdos sort of barbarian. What was the kind of shit that they would do? But again, we can swap. We have all of these known powers are permanent. This short list of prepared powers, we can swap that out. Like when we go to town, if we're not dungeon crawling anymore, I could choose to get rid of Vex, and I could replace it like with an exploit, for instance. Like what's a good one I like? Let's actually get back down into our list. God damn it, come on. Oh, I'm on the wrong list. That's why. Hold on. Almost there. Stay on target. Rakdos. Here. Exploits. So I could get rid of Vex while I'm in town doing downtime activity stuff. I want to blow my mana on bonuses to my ability checks. So I could, for instance, take, I don't know, Gifted Artisan. Oh, nice. I have performance. I'm Rakdos. I'm going to talk smack at people for a living. Gifted Artisan, when making an ability check that uses the performance skill, which I am proficient with, or a musical instrument, which I am also proficient with, the drum, I can roll 1 power die per mana channel, adding the highest result, adding the highest roll to my result. So at third or first level, I have a D6, so I can channel 1 mana. So while making a performance check to like get money for today, like as a downtime activity, I'd have my proficiency bonus, I have my performance skill, and I could use Gifted Artisan to artificially heighten up to an extra 6 points to my result. So not bad. And then when I go back into the dungeon, I could decide to add evasive footwork instead if I wanted to. Or I could pick up lethargy if I wanted to. Any power that I qualify for. Parry. As a reaction to when another creature you see damages you with a melee attack, roll 1 power die per mana burned, reducing the damage by the combined result. This is going to replace an opportunity attack. So if I had multiple, and I will have multiple opportunity attacks at higher levels as a Frenzied Berzerker, I could use multiple opportunity attacks to reduce multiple attacks coming at me to 0 damage. So anyway, so that's it. That's our Barbarian for now. Super fun. I think once we get to 5th level in April, I think we're going to see some real sickness. We spent time in past episodes looking at what higher level features of the Barbarian and other classes can do, giving you free strikes, giving you multiple chunks of free mana as you gain levels. When we come back tomorrow at lunchtime, we're going to build a Selesnya Ranger Beastmaster to lean into the Beast token aspect of the Selesnya the Selesnya Guild in Magic the Gathering cards. Tonight I'm going to be back in about a little less than 5 hours from now. We'll be back on doing more creature tokens for the Eberron adventure that we'll be publishing on DMsGuild later on this year. And tomorrow morning, we'll be back to do more Spelljammer artwork. So that's what we got going on. If you think this stuff is fun, consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell icon to get notifications of when we're live in the future. Check out my Discord channel. That's starting to grow in momentum to have people that are gathering that can play around with the Martial Powers playtest that'll be coming up at the end of February. Ked809, thanks a lot, guys, for hanging out. I appreciate it. And anyone, of course, be welcome to check this stuff out. It's again, the playtest content is here in the Martial Power playtest content on my Patreon. You do not need to be a member of my Patreon to access the link. You can just click into it, and you can build any martial character that you want from level 1 to 20. see if you think it's cool. If you have any questions, this stuff doesn't make sense, jump into my Discord, ask me to clarify. If you're right, I did a horrible job explaining it. I'm hiring an editor, so I'll put that on my list of things to get better. So thanks a lot for being involved, and I'll see everybody in about a little less than 5 hours. Cheers.